Welcome back to the High Performance Homestead. This time we will be installing the sheet ledge on top of the concrete form boards. That'll give us a place for the exterior sheathing and steel panels to overlap the concrete a little bit. Once we get that done, we'll square the entire pad, doing the diagonal method from corner to corner. After that, we will be installing the rebar. We'll set it up, mark everything with some paint, and put on the rebar, bend it wherever it needs to be bent, and tie it up with rebar ties. And then after that, the next episode, we'll be getting ready for PEX piping for the radiant floor. Thanks for joining. Enjoy. Well, we're finally coming along. I finally got all of the plastic down, the insulation down, all the seams are taped, although it's rained and water's gotten up under it because of the seams aren't very well taped at all. I've had to suck the water back out from underneath the insulation, and it's been weeks. So there's certain parts that I'm gonna have to retape and go back through and make sure that whenever we do pour concrete, it's not going to get up underneath it and start floating the insulation boards. So now I've got the beginning portions of the sheet ledge up on top of the form boards here. We've squared it all off. It's square within 1/8 of an inch for the whole thing. And now I'm getting ready to do the rebar. So need to do some more taping, but the sun's gonna help dry out because the tape doesn't seem to stick to water too well. So we are going to, or I've already started laying out measurements, and I'm just using paint to figure out where to put the rebar. So let's take a look. And of course, all kinds of debris and mud and leaves and everything have come through here. As you can see, the old question of which crossed out marker we're going to go by. We're going to go with the long ones in this case. So I've started marking them off. Plans call for 24-inch on center number 3 rebar. I'm going with 16 because I like to overdo things.
So that's where we're at now. We're gonna mark off, or continue to mark off around the perimeter, around the back there, and probably some here in the middle, just to make sure we stay lined up. And I think part of the reason why I want to keep perfect on that is because I'm going to use that as the rebar placement as a guideline for where the PEX lines will go for the radiant heat. So as you can see, I have put plastic down here where these, no, I can't think of the name of them right now, but these depressed areas, there is insulation boards underneath it, but it's just difficult to tape all those seams. So I just used plastic there. And as you can see, I've taped off all these seams here, so hopefully no concrete gets underneath it and makes them float. I'm using 2x6s. Most of the time you would use a 2x2 against your form boards here, but since I have insulation, which is 1.5 inches, and I want my sheet ledge to be 1.5 inches inside of that, then I've decided, well, let's just use a 2x6, lay on top of the form board, it'll go over the insulation and stick out another 1.5 inches to give you sheet ledge, and the top of the concrete will go to the top of these boards here. So again, we've got all our plumbing, all this stuff's pretty much ready to go. I've talked to a contractor, a concrete contractor, who's going to help me pour, and we might be ready in about 3 weeks. If I can get this thing finished and not have to go to work so much. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get to it over here. And now moving on to some rebar. I've already started a little bit. Had to try to figure things out. So I'm gonna do about a 7-inch bend on the ends. And then these are all number 3 rebar, which means they're 3/8 of an inch in diameter. And then the plans call for 2 number 4 rebar, one at the bottom of the footers and one at the top. So I want to put the little bend in there so we can tie the other pieces of rebar to that. So now I am bending all the perimeter ones for the lengthways and the widthways, and we'll get those done and then fill in the rest of it. I can tell you, bending rebar is a lot of fun. Yeah. I've got a pretty good grid pattern laid out here with the rebar. It's not a lot of fun, really, doing all this on the ground level, but we're getting her done. It doesn't look too bad. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. So I've been wire tying for hours. My hands are quite sore. My back is sore, but it'll be over with before too long. So we're gonna keep on wire tying. I'm only wire tying every other connection here. I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I'm gonna do. Those guys are everywhere. Now we're cooking with butter. We've got the grid complete of all the rebar. We've got rebar every 16 inches on center. They're tied at every other joint there. This is all number 3 rebar, which is 3/8 of an inch. Number 4 rebar is on the perimeter. Number 4 is 1/2 of an inch. It's kind of cool how they do that. Every number represents 1/8 of an inch. So 3 is 3/8 of an inch, 4 is 4/8 of an inch, or 1/2. So we've got 1/2 inch rebar on top and on bottom. These are on chairs on the bottom, and then once we put the rest of this grid on chairs, we'll get a separation of about 6 inches between this number 4 top and the number 4 bottom. I've overdone the width of the footer there and the depth of it. Plans call for 12 inches down, 12 inches across. We're about 13 to 14 inches down, and probably close to 15 inches across. I guess I got a little overzealous with my digging. I love to dig. No. So I've overlapped all of my joints. Some of them aren't very good, like that one there, but they're all overlapped. They're all bent down at the edges. The 3/8 ones are bent down about 7 inches or so, and the corners of the number 4 there are bent on all 4 corners, and they're up on chairs. I think I already mentioned that. So I've put, I don't know if I said, we got 16 on center rebar, the number 3 rebar in a grid pattern, all of them overlapping at least 20 inches. Some of them I just didn't want to cut, so they're overlapping by quite a bit. But all these areas here overlapped by about 20 inches and tied on both ends with the rebar ties, bar ties as they call them. Went through about close to 900 bar ties on this whole thing. My hands are tired. And then let's see, in here I didn't go as deep as the perimeter footers are. These are a little bit less, about 1.5 inches or so. So I used 1.5 inch chairs in here, and those actually have clips in them that will hold on to the rebar, whereas these other ones, the 2.5 or 3 inch ones over here, did not really retain themselves very well. So I went around and zip tied all of those together.
That is it this time. Thanks for watching. Next time we are going to be laying down the PEX pipe for the radiant floor heating. Stick around for that. We'll see you next time. Thanks.